Hello there. As you may be able to see behind me, I have flap discs, cutting discs, and I have grinding discs. I also have metal that requires attention aplenty, like this ugly bit here, and this ugly bit here, and yeah, it's just all ugly, isn't it? Let's put two and two together. So to be clear on the plan, by the end of this episode, I want to have everything ready for new metal to go in the car. I want to have ugly old welds flatted down. I want to have holes cut, ready for new metal to go in. And if I get a chance, I might even put some of that new metal in. We'll see how things go. Okay, let's get cracking with the grinder.
In sin so long, all the fields are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on.
Now my face might be a bit of a state right now. You might not be able to tell because generally, I mean, you guys are the ones that are looking at this. My face is a bit of a state. But yeah, you get a lot of stuff in your face doing this, rather unpleasant. I can feel my skin has this sort of gritty texture. It's unpleasant. But the remaining parts of the outer sill are off. And I did try the grinding wheel again. Under here, all along here, it's now all gone. Ta-da! It wasn't the nicest job. I did, from that end to about here with the grinding wheel, and if you can see up here, you can see how much more heat was getting into this. I might even have to go over this couple of little bits here with the flap wheel again. Somewhere around about this first bit I did with the grinder, and after that I changed to the flap wheel, and it's just so much easier to manage the heat and the abrasion and keep it where you need it. Don't get me wrong, grinding wheels, there is a place for them. I mean, it was actually really quite good at taking down some of these bits of really proud weld. There is more to be done here. I've got this little bit along here to do, but that won't take me too long to do in the long run in the grand scheme of things. So, right, I think it's time to make an incision, possibly here.
Around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster. Oh, roller coaster.
We're going to start in the car with what I found. Not what I was expecting, worse than I was expecting, but better than I was expecting, if there is such a thing where all three of those converge. Let me show you the inside of the car. So the roll cage foot itself is cleaned up reasonably well, and you might not be able to see because of the light here, but actually what there is around the foot itself is okay. There's a little bit underneath the foot, I shall show you in a minute. I cut a slot here expecting to be able to cut the rest of the metal off from around, so you can see this
this slightly ugly bit here and this pile of weld here. So I'm assuming water's got between some layers of metal here. But I think I'm going to end up doing a patch down here somewhere. And then I think I'm going to go back out, rather than cutting this whole foot out, I can actually patch it from the other side. So let me just quickly show you what I mean. Down here, there appears to be some little grot underneath here. I might end up doing a little bit into the front of the wheel arch here. And I know I've already painted this, but I mean, it was always with the view that I would probably need to be touching it up, and I've got to do more paintwork anyway, so not too worried about the paint here. The bulkhead was the bit I really wanted to get looking smart. But yeah, I want to investigate further here underneath this, because there could well be a patch or a rusty patch underneath this whole bit here, as it does appear that way. But as for the ugly bit on the foot, actually this is the bottom of the roll cage foot. That's the weld in the middle there. So if I was to do maybe obviously a rust kill, but just generally tidy up what's here and then patch over it like this and leave a hole like that, so I can then weld back through, join it all up, so it will be as strong as it was, welded in the same places. Join this all back up, jiggly jiggly jig. That bit of rust there isn't so bad. It's the fact that it continues over here that is mildly concerning. But so I can do a little slice and a bit of repair work over there. It's just not what I was expecting. When you start digging is when you start finding. So yeah, under there I expect to be terrible. But as you can see from here, I've probably already done a patch there, so I can do a repair here. It's not the end of the world. Patch back over that, nowhere near as bad as I thought. The actual foot itself was solid. So then all I've got to do is sort out this little bit here. I might be able to do a smaller patch with that as well, rather than going all the way down. I might just be able to patch this little bit of foot here. Bit on the inside, bit on the outside, cut out the rust on the inside. And I think we may well be all good. Obviously, yes, I'm aware I still have to fill up that hole where I was a fool. But not as bad as was expected. I'm going to say, because the light's in here now, you may well see, obviously water was getting into that corner of the sill, sort of over here. But again, it's all fairly solid and it's just rust killable. Kill the rust, paint it up, job done. So it probably was getting in here, trickling down in between the layers, and that's what's done this bit down here. Anyway, that's where we are up to. With the fading light and the fact that it's 8:15, I'm going to hang up the tools for today, but I'm not finishing the video yet. If you're here and you're watching and you've got this far, down in that corner there, you know, thumbs up, hit the button. If you are not a subscriber and you're watching this for the first time and you're enjoying it, go find the subscribe. Watch all the rest of the videos, because there's a whole series leading up to this. Any tips, anything that you think might help me on my journey, please chuck it in the comments. Always happy to read, always happy to engage. I'm happy to tell you when you're wrong, or admit when I'm wrong. It's a fun place to be. And on that note, on for the next day.
Welcome back. I appear to have cut a hole. And that's not the only one either. There's one over here as well. Yeah, I've been a bit busy.
Now I'm aware some of you may be thinking, he's got himself carried away, he started cutting holes. Yeah, but I've been chasing the rust. See, where does the rust end? Where it ends is where I stop cutting to. And that's kind of led me to where I am now. So as far as the heel board end goes, I've ended up with this size gap here. I didn't necessarily have to cut this bit, but unfortunately with angle grinder discs, it's difficult to kind of just do that bit there without the blade sinking into this, and it kind of got easier to then, there was just a tiny little welded hole, so it kind of got easier to do that. I've also cut out a hole there just so I can put a little tiny bit back in to get rid of that bit I've burned through. And then there's the interesting end. This end of the car is the end that just keeps on giving. So I have now extended from here that way through the rest of the foot. The whole bottom of the foot has been now derusted, cleaned, prepped. Actually, I say it's actually in pretty good shape. This slice here is actually unnecessary, but it's now there. There has been a little slice up in this corner here, but it's mainly to cut out the little bit of rust I found there. And now we continue on down in this direction here. So now I'm going to make some panels to fill the gap up. It's all fun cutting stuff out, and you've got to fill the holes back up again. So how am I going to do that? Well, you might recognise this shape just a little bit. This is one of the offcuts I had from the over the arch repair. The arch would go here, a bit of metal's over there somewhere. So I have spent a little bit of time with my friendly hammer here, and this bit of, I don't know if you can see it there, this bit of metal here, much things have been whacked. It's no longer a curved piece of metal, it is flat. This edge here has been straightened, and I'm going to use this as my basis for a repair. So I've kind of just got to get this in place where it's going to go to. Probably going to be another section, either side of it, and a load of chopped off the top. But yeah, I'm going to mark up where it's got to be, and as ever, cut very delicately back to where it needs to be, and then I can weld it into place. And for those of you who have never done this kind of like patchwork, and you've only done full panels or whatever, or you've never done any patchwork, is a lot easier, to be fair, if you're just going to replace the bits that are rusty. That thing there, magnet, really, really handy. If you've not got a magnet, self-tapping screws through to hold it where you need it, that's where you want it to be. But this bit here is kind of lined up with the floor in this corner. The idea is you get it roughly where you want it to be, up as high as it needs to be. I'm going to jump in the car and just make a mark of the shape, and I'll cut out this bit because that's the bit that's going to go there. I can then use my magnet to hold that in place where it's going to be, and make this bit, which is then have to be at a slightly different angle because it lips over the edge of the inner sill as it sort of swoops up, if that makes any sense. So yeah, inside the car. So I'm just holding this over as best I can. Obviously the magnet's keeping it in place. It's 90% of where I want it to be. So yeah, break out the old Sharpie. That's the bit we're keeping. And hopefully you're left with something like that. So you can see what I mean here. There's our piece. Magnet goes on. Up it goes. Right, I've got to take a little bit more out of this top corner to match the shape in the floor pan. I'll get that trimmed and in place, and then we can make this bit. When you've all done with the trimming, it should fit a little bit like that. Now, there is no prep work gone into this at all, but just randomly cutting those panels where I wanted them, that's practically exactly the right amount of metal left. Let us repeat the operation and make a panel for there. What you should be left with, I know the magnet's not necessarily holding it all where I want it right now, but you should be left a nice patch there, a nice patch here, and everything's kind of where you want it to be. On the other side, kind of looks a little bit like that. See a little tiny hole to fill up in this corner here once it's all up in place, but I don't mind doing that. That's those ones made. Now let's make a patch to go in here. I have found a convenient sized offcut, and we're going to need to be putting this bit of floor kind of like that, about there. Okay, let's cut that off a bit like that. Fits about where you want it to go. Okay, we've got a L-shaped bit coming out here. Mark it up, cut it off, got an angle to go up here, mark it up, cut it off. You get the gist, and you'll be left with something that fits a bit like this. Ta-da! Now I'm sure there'll be some discussion in the comments about there's no way he did that first time. And I would be joining you if I hadn't just done it first time. But yes, I did. Now, as luck would have it, the remains of the panel that we had are enough to finish off the floor, but there is some fiddling and bending required. So I'm kind of not really using the magnets. I'm just holding it vaguely in place on this sort of joining edge here where it's going to go, like so. That should be ample metal for a repair patch. So I can at least get this kind of like vaguely cut, and then we'll see whether it fits. You can see that I'm really close with this shape, but because I've got so many component pieces to kind of put in and form, I've got to start somewhere and finish something off first. But you can see how you build it up bit by bit by bit, piece by piece by piece, and you kind of got all your little individual pieces, clean them up, tack them in one at a time, and take it from there. Which, as you can see, I have made a start on here. I haven't done the extra spots, I haven't decided where they're going to go yet because I've still got to do some tidying up of all the bare metal, but it is clamped in place. I will just chuck these bits in here a second so you can see the whole lot together. So here they are, all in place, viewed from below. Yes, there's some gaps, obviously it'll get better when it gets tacked in. And then on the inside, an effective repair for a very difficult to get to place. If you've enjoyed this, as I said, smash the thumbs up, go and follow on for the journey, and next time I will be welding that lot together and making the other two patches. See you there.